Welcome back. South Africa is vulnerable to global trends with shoppers squeezed by high food costs and low confidence. We unpack the fast-moving consumer goods retail sector outlook for 2025's latest growth trends and shifting market dynamics, conducted by Trade Intelligence and commissioned by Nedbank Commercial Banking. That's with Andrea Slabber from Trade Intelligence. Thank you so much for your time, Andrea. Now, firstly, just lay the table on the key trends and factors that are shaping the operating environment for FMCG retailers.
Hi, thanks so much. There are so many global factors impacting industry and in particular retail. We already feel the effects of tariffs. Globally, it's a big concern. It's impacting costs. That already was a very, very big concern for manufacturers and for retailers. Interesting with geopolitics, one thing that caught our eye was that we see Chinese brands infiltrating Western markets. So moving away from just a big production hub, but actually creating brands that resonate with shoppers across the world. Not only brands of products, but also retailers, So that's really interesting. I suppose technology is a big driver of change. And what we see is the focus on shopper centricity, because, we believe the shopper is still driving the agenda in retail. Retailers and suppliers are dancing to shoppers' needs. So technology, whether it's convenient or not, needs to resonate with the shopper. So those are some of the big macro factors, I suppose, shaping retail.
Yeah, it's quite interesting how you talk about, being shopper-centric and the shopper's needs driving, what retailers are offering. And quite interesting because one of those, as you're talking about technology, is e-commerce as well. We know how that's filtered through to that space. But I saw in your report, you also mentioned social commerce. What does that entail?
Social commerce is basically the ability of buying direct from a social media platform. Now, globally, we've seen over 43% of grocery shoppers engaging through social commerce for that. It's not that big in South Africa just yet, but at the rate of things developing, I wouldn't be surprised if that craze reaches our market as well.
Okay, that's very, very interesting. You talk about, the factors, driving the operating environment, and one that is not certain and stable as well. So where then are FMCG retailers looking for growth runway and opportunities?
Over the past 10 years, we've seen tremendous growth in grocery supermarket formats rolling out. All of us can relate with that. You see yet another mall, another grocery store. The news is that there are more stores coming next year, so the growth will continue, but there's a shift. So the big players in FMCG retail now are looking for adjacent categories. What is top of mind is retail stores being launched in the categories of pets, clothing, liquor, baby. And what those categories have in common is they do attract a higher income wallet. So the retailers are clever looking at these pockets of growth in these adjacent categories in retail. So if I say the retailers, I mean the FMCG or the grocery retailers, but they certainly know where to aim for. Another one I didn't mention now is discounter retail. So discounter retail is a big area of growth, and the big retailers in South Africa in FMCG have clearly stated their intention of expanding in the discounter space. Obviously, also looking at providing commodities, staple groceries at value or at good value for consumers.
Very interesting points that you make there, particularly with pet. I was reading a story in the news bulletin that Spar is now also expanding to pet retail. We see a lot of dog moms emerging in the social media space, but also the discounter retail space. Now we also have Walmart saying that they are coming into South Africa. Andrea, the report also highlights that corporate retailers are eyeing the independent space, and independents are formalizing and extending into retail. What do these shifting market dynamics entail, and what story are they telling?
The story they're telling is the story of the fierce competition within the retail industry. The industry as a whole isn't growing that much, so the competition is very tough.
Yeah.
So across the different channels between the modern trade space where the corporate retailers play, they are infiltrating the territories of independent trade and wholesale. We see the likes of Shoprite opening these cash and carry formats on the one end. On the other end, the YouSave stores, sometimes in container store format, infiltrating the township territories.
Oh.
At the same time, informal trade is also formalizing in a way. You know, you see the spaza store owners banding together towards buying power and the rise of the midi wholesalers competing with established wholesale. And then from the wholesalers, you also see them inviting the household shopper into their stores, dressing up their wholesale outlets with nice little basket trolleys, having great deals on grocery shopping there. So not only providing goods for traders, but also for grocery shoppers, household shoppers.
Yeah, Andrea, I mean, it's pretty interesting because you talk about this tight competition space. Is competition at this point a threat or just an avenue to finding growth and seeking growth in this market?
It's an avenue for the big players and it's a threat, I suppose, for the smaller players. But it's also something to say of smaller new players might be more agile. We don't know exactly how Walmart, they're not a small player, they're a big player, entering our market with their trading brand. We don't know what that will deliver. But it's a very dynamic time in this industry, very exciting. And we see the ones that are winning are the ones that are innovating and shaping the stores around shoppers' needs.
All right. Well, we do have to wrap up the conversation there, Andrea, but thank you so much for such an insightful conversation. That was Andrea Slabber from Trade Intelligence.